DrDisrespect is still just building up for his amazing return, and quote unquote, that he's planning. He's tried to delete now the evidence of him admitting to messaging a minor. He also just put out a tweet just about 20 minutes ago from when I started recording this. Obviously, lots of things are kind of colliding together and building up towards this guy getting his grand return. We're just going to go over all the new DrDisrespect updates. So starting from the top, he has deleted his super long tweet, the one that he just couldn't make up his mind and if he wanted to admit that there was a minor involved or not. Jake Lucky tweeted out, DrDisrespect has now deleted his Twitch ban statement in which he admits to inappropriately messaging a minor. Of course, this being his long statement where he tried to have the cool guy macho attitude that he owns the haters and owns the libs by talking to underage people in an inappropriate way. It's actually just awesome, and he's just a badass, and you libs and haters just don't understand it. That's really what his takeaway tried to be. And this is really the most iconic paragraph of all time, and I'm going to read it again just to remind you guys what we're working with. This is the section that he tried to edit multiple times when this happened just a couple months ago, where he said, "Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? That's the word he kept removing. The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures were shared. No crimes were committed. I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear. It was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me." But now he has deleted this. He has, cowered it out. He doesn't want this to be up on the internet on his Twitter account anymore, I suppose. But hundreds of millions of people saw it on his Twitter, on YouTube videos, streams, everywhere. So he is permanently going to be known as the P word, unless he gives some farther clarification as to what happened, which I don't think he will. He made a tweet just about 30 minutes ago, where again, he tries to keep up the I'm a badass villain attitude, but it's just so cringe. He says, "Vacation is just too good right now. We'll be back soon though, champs. We have lots to talk about." Yeah. I think this is some bit that he does. I don't even know. It's cringe. But yeah, so he's made this tweet announcing his return. He says we have lots to talk about. I really don't think he's going to give any kind of details about the situation. If he does, I'll eat my words. I would at least like to see that. But I really don't think he's going to address it. He went 5 years straight without talking about it, fully knowing well what was going on, fully just allowing himself to grow and, never addressing this. But as soon as it came out, then he made that macho badass tweet where he's like, "When shit happens, I talk about it. I take accountability." Not really though. Yeah, but not really though. That's not really how that works. This dude was acting in response to the original guy who leaked all of this, a few months back. And he was like, "Fuck that guy. That guy's a loser. We don't need to give him any attention. We don't need to address anything, champs. Fuck it." And then when it just immediately escalated to the entire internet at that point, there was nothing he could do but make the dreaded tweet that he probably regrets leaving the word minor in there. And that's now where we're at here today. Another thing he's done since this all broke out is he decided to change his Twitter header. I think I talked about this before, but now he added a new element to it where he included this little object floating in the water and attached a fish line to it with a hook that shows the Twitch ban now deleted tweet, where it was all just bait. It was actually bait. You guys all fell for it. Really, this is nothing. It's a total nothing burger. Look, if it comes out and DrDisrespect is somehow able to prove that everything was just the most awesome bait of all time, there wasn't a minor involved, that never happened, he just tricked the world into thinking he's a P word, then I guess I will take a knee and just take the fattest L imaginable. I just cannot imagine that would ever happen. That would just be one of the most insane career moves of all time, to falsely label yourself a P word, leave your gaming studio. There's just so many factors involved in this that it just seems way too insane to me. But it seems like that's what he's trying to get across here, is that he's trying to symbolize. Look, here is the fishing rod that goes up. So he has thrown out a fishing pole, and this is the bait. So I guess if it's true, Dr. Disrespect is the first person to ever fake being a P word, to trick everybody, and then come back to streaming and own everyone who shat on him. If that's the case, then holy fucking shit. I mean, this guy is one of the most insane, deranged individuals of all time. And even if that is the case, he will still just be called the P word forever. It's just wild to me. It's just so strange. But given that this guy was on just like the most crazed cheating spree of all time back in 2017 when this allegedly happened, I am way more inclined to believe that it happened than it didn't happen. I mean, the guy was messaging multiple women just constantly. He would DM them in character as he was like touching himself. I mean, he was hitting every margin, you know, like cis women, trans women, allegedly minor women. I mean, bro was just checking off every single box. It's actually insane. And even if it is technically bait, right? Like even if this whole thing is bait, what is the win here? What is the gotcha? That when he himself admitted to messaging a minor inappropriately, people shat on him. He was kicked out of his company and people called him the P word. Is that the epic own? What is actually the own here? That people just believe the words that come out of your mouth? Because it would be one thing if it was like, oh, you guys all fell for this guy who leaked a bunch of bullshit. You guys are losers. No, you are the one that said it, right? Like we're not just saying this because someone else said it. You admitted it yourself. So I don't understand what the bait would even be. It just blows my mind what his thought process is here. But I guess we'll have to see how it develops. I mean, I can't imagine this will go good for him. But he does have a lot of simps and defenders. I mean, people are rabid for his return. It's crazy to me. People keep saying stuff in the comments, like there's this one guy here who says, we have lots to talk about. A huge piece of the puzzle is clearly missing here, which the doc is clearly confident and willing enough to share with us all soon. Again, at this point, I can't imagine that what Doc was doing was anything better than Chris Tyson, for example. When Chris Tyson is 20 years old and messaging Lava GS, again, let's just go with the initial allegation that Chris got canceled for. Chris gave the response to. That's all we had at the time, right? Tossing out the Discord allegations like the essay stuff. These are still bad to be clear, but just speaking hypothetically and going back to when Chris made this statement and it was already more than over for Chris publicly. Everyone was already just completely down Chris's throat. All we had was a Lava GS allegation. It was Chris Tyson at 20 years old, which again, this is wildly inappropriate, talking to someone who is 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever, and making jokes about, hentai, making jokes about sexual things. We can speculate that Chris wanted something with him, but really there was any direct communication of Chris saying like, oh, I want you, or, no clear indication of like a desire to essay Lava GS at the time, right? Regardless, again, still inappropriate, but that's all we had to work with. It was exactly as Doc said in his initial response, where it's just like, I mean, yeah, these are inappropriate things. They leaned on the side of inappropriate. Nothing illegal really happened. I never met the person. I mean, I guess technically Chris did meet Lava GS, but not one-on-one, not alone. But still, I mean, you're looking at a situation where it's like, what could possibly be missing from this puzzle? You talked inappropriately to a minor as a 35-year-old man, by the way, almost twice Chris Tyson's age. Let's just be very clear about that. 35 years old. And the person was at most 17, could have been younger. We don't know. And it's just insane to me to see that there is anything here that could possibly be any better. And I think with this Dr. Disrespect situation, we're really looking at, we need to see the messages. Really, I mean, that's just how it works at the end of the day. The messages either need to be seen, they need to be said explicitly by someone who is involved in the messages. I mean, I guess the doctor could describe what happened in the messages, but if he doesn't show them, I'm not really going to take his word for it. I personally don't believe he's shown himself to be a reliable narrator. I mean, I guess. But the weirdest thing about the whole messages and the proof is that Willie Max Show made a video on this whole situation where he talked about Slasher and just the entire situation with Twitch based on all the information we have right now, where there was this entire tirade that Slasher went on. He was going on Hassan's stream saying crazy shit. I didn't make a video about this guy. I just rambled about him. I think he absolutely sucks. But Willie Max Show got even more information out of why he is just a complete loser. In these DMs, Willie Max Show asked Slasher, have you ever actually seen the messages yourself? And Slasher gave a response saying, the whispers and statements were seen by sources who had direct knowledge/access to them. And after Willie pushed Slasher to be more direct, Slasher said, no, I mentioned that already. The report is based off sources who had direct access to the whispers. Those cannot/wouldn't be saved. Of course, this was after Slasher himself said that he had completely verified the information with primary sources and passed both a journalistic bar and a legal bar. to be used in print. He hasn't seen the messages with his own eyes. This is a word of mouth situation. And he continued on saying, you will never, ever, ever see the logs for not just this situation, but any ban regarding Twitch. So we're just stuck in a situation where we're not going to get anything. We're not going to get any updates. He's just going to be able to make a probably reasonable return. He's going to come back to the internet, stream, have no problems whatsoever. What I am curious about, though, is how he's going to make his money, because he did get demonetized on YouTube. When people noticed with extensions that it showed up that he was not monetized, along with his memberships no longer continuing, like his monthly memberships on his YouTube channel. I've heard rumblings around and random people in replies saying that the members only Discord for DrDisrespect is apparently talking about that it wasn't a real demonetization. They're full on coping, saying he actually turned his memberships off himself because he's going on vacation. I'd be very curious to see that, but I'm not buying it. I don't believe it. Third-party extensions are saying he's demonetized. His memberships are off. I don't think YouTube would just let him return and monetize on this platform, not with how controversial he is now. I mean, maybe they would. I mean, I guess it's not really the first controversial figure they'd have let on their platform, but this is just to such an extreme extent. I doubt it's not going to be escalated to some kind of level, especially if he comes back and just brushes it off. But we'll have to see at the end of the day. But anyway, that's all I really got to say about this. So see you guys tomorrow. Peace.